Good morning, everybody. How are you? I guess it's afternoon, actually, isn't it? Good afternoon. So happy to see you. Happy to have you join us. If you haven't joined us before, then welcome to you. I'm happy to have you here, and I hope that you will find the content interesting and relevant. Now, today we're going to talk about your adult children and you, and some of the conversations that you all might be having as a family. The reason this topic came to mind for today is that, as many of our longtime viewers will know, I have another page called Real Life Renos. And while the oldish is devoted more to aging adults, Real Life Renos is devoted to home modification and also a little bit of brain modification. You know, how you think about the way you live, but it's not specifically older adults over on Real Life Renos because, people have neurological disorders, they are born with disabilities, they acquire disabilities through catastrophic accidents. So that can happen at any age. So that's the distinction between the oldish and Real Life Renos for you. But one of the recurring themes that comes up when we're talking about older adults is the worry that their children feel. It's one of the recurring themes that has been coming up in the courses that I've been taking. Now, as some of you will know, I've shared with you that I've been doing certifications in home modification so that I can learn more about it and talk with more authority and have a broader range of knowledge to bring to you and to those who follow us over on Real Life Renos. So this recurring theme does come up about adult children who are worried about their parents, and adult children who want to be dismissive or in denial. So that's what I wanted to talk with you about. We want to live independently as long as possible. At least I do. Not everybody does. Some people just don't even want to think about it, but I certainly do. And, as we get older, I hear often from older adults, particularly women. I'm not sure why it's women more than men, but it is. I hear from them that there's been a bit of a role reversal, that their children are acting more like parents. Well, that's very common because you've heard the expression the sandwich generation. That's what that is. That is adult children who are parenting their children, their own children, and also parenting their parents. It's a very difficult position to be in. However, here is where a very important function kicks in, and this is where you get to participate and have something to say about this. When these conversations start to surface with your adult children, the first thing that comes to your mind should be communication. You need to talk about it because what a lot of people will do is they'll deny it. Don't worry about it. We'll be okay. I'm fine. Don't give it a thought. You've got more important things to do. Well, they are going to worry. And of course, with families being so spread out geographically these days, that doesn't help. You get that once a week phone call, and maybe they visit at Easter and Christmas and, whatever. But it's not like they live across the street and they can keep an eye on you. So, at the very first sign that something is of concern to them, my fervent wish for you is that you sit down with them and get it all out on the table. They're not going to stop worrying, and their minds are going to go to the worst places, those worst what if scenarios. We all do that. I mean, you think about something and you think of the worst thing that could possibly happen. Personally, I have a philosophy that worrying about something is like praying for it to happen because you give it that energy. We don't want them to pray for it to happen, and I'm sure that's not their intention. But what you'll start to hear from them are things like, I text you and it takes you forever to text back. I call you and you're not there. What if you fall down the stairs and nobody knows? Dad, what if you're going downstairs to the basement to do the laundry? Nobody will find you for days if you should have an accident down there. You'll start to hear those kinds of conversations. And this is what I want you to address sooner than later, because when you address it sooner, you get to mitigate the concerns with hopefully non-invasive, but certainly less invasive kinds of tactics. Um, you don't want them to start feeling like they're overbearing, and you don't want to start feeling like they are overbearing. So, working together to find solutions is really the better path. Now, it could be something as simple as if you live in a house in a neighborhood, you may have a neighbor next door or across the street, and you can make arrangements with them to peek out the window and check on each other's blinds or drapes. Normally the blinds are up by 9 in the morning. Usually you put the blinds down by 9 or 10 at night. If that hasn't happened, that might be a signal that something's not quite right, and you might want to go across the street and check. That might be an arrangement you make with neighbors, and you can tell your children, "Oh, I've arranged with the neighbor, and we have this all in place. And if the blinds aren't up, and I go across the street and they don't answer the door, this is the next step that we've arranged to take. I have her children's phone number, and she has your number. So there is a process to follow through to make sure that we're safe." So that's one thing you can do that is really non-invasive at all. It's merely like a distance welfare check. Now, another thing you can do is arrange to keep your smartphone with you all the time. They can be a little bit big and clunky, but they do have, I've seen recently more and more of them, these little crossbody phone holders, smartphone holders. So you wear them like a crossbody purse. Guys might not love that so much. They can put it in their pocket. But even a small purse of some kind, if you can't find a crossbody smartphone holder that you like, would work. And that way you just put it on in the morning and your phone is with you all the time. And that way, if you get a message or the phone rings, it's right with you. You don't have to worry about it. Smartwatches. I have one, and whenever I get a message on my smartphone, a text message or a phone call, my phone taps me or buzzes, depending on what the function is. Now, this one is see it's lighting up. This one is an Apple iWatch. There are lots of them out there, and most of them hook up to your smartphones in exactly the same kind of way. I think I'm not going to say for sure, but I think Fitbit watches will also do the same thing. Anyway, check on it and see what you can find. But even the newer ones, you don't even have to have your phone with you all the time. And my watch is, and I think it's generation 3, so it's quite old at this point in time. But the newer generations, you don't even have to be that close to your phone to get phone calls, and you can actually talk on them. Remember those superhero cartoons or programs from back in the day when they talked on their phone? Well, that's a reality. That's really happening. You can also take some proactive steps that you can tell your children about. You can look at some really simple home modifications. Now, yes, there are some very expensive ones, but you can do things like look around your house, and you can pull up area rugs. You've heard me talk about those before. Those things are the devil incarnate. Area rugs and throw rugs are not good things to have around. They are fall hazards. You can get rid of those. Removing clutter. You can install some grab bars in the bathroom. Now, here's something I learned in my most recent home modification course that I'm still in. I'm doing it with the University of Southern California, and it's a longer one, so it'll be a long time before I'm done. But anyway, one of the things that I have learned is that they have some really nice looking grab bars, because most of us, we think of grab bars and we think, oh God, the bathroom's going to look institutional. Doesn't look that way. If you get some of these nicer ones, yes, they do cost more. Yes, they do. But they have them that, it looks like a regular towel bar, but there's another little bar on the bottom. That's where the towel goes. The actual main bar is the grab bar, but it's so integrated, and they come in, the oil polished and silver and bronze and stainless, lots of different kinds and types now. There are toilet paper holders that have a built-in grab bar above it. It just looks like it's integrated and part of the unit. Doesn't look like a grab bar at all. So, you might want to think about those. What you don't want to do is get the grab bars that suction to the wall. Those are not going to be helpful to you. They actually need to be drilled into the wall to be functional. But if you can tell your children that you've done this kind of stuff, it will alleviate a lot of their concern. And this is non-invasive. We're not talking about putting cameras or monitors in your house. No, we're not. We're talking about things you can do to be safer, to lower the threshold of their concern. And at the same time, let's be honest, increase your safety. None of us are getting younger. Falling is a hazard for sure. And denying that doesn't make the hazard go away. It just means you're pretending it doesn't exist and therefore not taking steps to make sure that it doesn't happen. Take a look at the tread on your house slippers. We did a whole show about this as well. Your house slippers or the shoes you typically wear around the house, take a look at it. If they're bald and shiny, you shouldn't be wearing them. You need to throw them out and replace them. Maybe that's a good gift to put on your Father's Day list or a birthday list or something to take you to or give you a certificate for your favorite shoe store and get those replaced with something that has some tread because those shiny surfaces are also a fall hazard. Check the railings leading into your house and the railings also inside of your house. And if you're somebody who has to go down into a basement, it's a really good idea to put a handrail on both sides of the stairs so that you can grab them with both hands. Or if you've got something in one arm, you don't have to be switching arms to grab a railing partway down. Railings are really important. Again, they have to be secured well. Check the lighting in your home. Make sure the corridors are lit. Make sure that the stairs are lit. Make sure that there's a path that will light if you have to get up in the night to go to the bathroom. Home assistants are a really good thing for this. Now, yes, there is a lot of concern about them listening to you, that Big Brother is listening somehow. There are ways of setting it up so that that's not the case. So be aware of that. But they can turn lights on and off. I have them here. And when it gets darker at night, I just say, Alexa, turn the lights on. And the lights come on. Okay, the lights just came on. Alexa, turn the living room lights off. Okay, and the lights go off. So, just by voice, you don't have to fumble for a light switch in the dark. You don't have to trip over anything. You just say what you want to happen. And it's really very simple. So now this is a discussion you don't probably want to have with your children, but it's an issue you need to think about. Incontinence is a very one of the most frequent causes of falls. It's not a normal part of aging, but if you are finding that you are incontinent or dribbling or, you know, whatever, you need to make an appointment with your doctor and have a very frank conversation. You can tell your kids afterwards you went to see the doctor to talk about various, range of motion issues or whatever you want to say. But, I think that the more you can communicate with your adult children about measures that you are proactively putting in place will reduce their anxiety about your safety and your wellness. Um, you don't want them being your caregiver or being your parent or big brother. You want to still be their mother or their father or whatever relationship you have with them. I will close off this part of the conversation by telling you that if you deny the conversation, I'll be okay, don't worry about me. You can deny it all you want. That doesn't stop the conversation on their end. It just means you're no longer part of it. And I don't think that's a really good situation either. You need to be part of that conversation and make sure that you are openly communicating all along the way. Okay, enough of that. I want to tell you about, actually, this is about positive thinking. We just published a really great article on theoldish.com about a study that was done that shows that negative thoughts are aligned with dementia. Check that out. There are lots of reasons to be positive thinkers, and now I've got another one. But I like thinking positively anyway. I mentioned Real Life Renos at the top of the show. I'm going to mention it now and tell you that tomorrow at 7 p.m., our Real Life Renos show will air. We're messing around with the times. I think the first one was at 3:15 in an afternoon. The one last week was at 11 o'clock in the morning. We're doing one at 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, and we're talking with a renovator contractor who specializes in accessibility. Accessibility, don't confuse that with wheelchairs and ramps and all that, although he does that. He also deals very strongly with universal design, and he has all kinds of certifications that mean he really knows what he's talking about. So that should be a really interesting show if you are interested in that topic. Go over to facebook.com/, real life renos, and you can like and follow our page. You'll get a notification when that show is coming up when we post the announcement, but that is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Of course, it'll be archived, so if you're busy, don't worry about it. You can go back and pick it up. Anyway, that is our show for today. So don't let your children worry so much. They're just going to. You know, the way you used to worry about them when they were little, when they first got their driver's license and took off, and you didn't know where they were going or that they were going to be all right because you couldn't see them? It's the same kind of thing. Okay, folks, until next Wednesday at 12 noon, I will say goodbye. I will hope you stay well, look after one another. And do remember, please, that it takes a village to age a senior. Bye, everybody.